Assalamualaikum and hello everyone. Welcome to the video for the summary or the mind map of chapter 8 hydroxy, or specifically for our class of compound alcohol. Okay, so for the alcohol, we have learned for the reaction is actually the preparation and the reaction of alcohol itself lah. This is for 8.3, this is for 8.4. 8.5 is for phenol, but then for this mind map, we're going to look for the alcohol itself. Okay, so if you have seen the previous video, so this is the newest video for the mind map. Okay, so what's the difference between this and the previous video? For the last ataupun this one is the latest one. Yang sebelum ni Miss tak ada buat ni sangat lah. This one Miss tak includekan. So that's why I made a new one lah. Okay, so let's look for the reaction itself. So for the preparation of alcohol, there are 4 ways to prepare our alcohol. So for the first one ni, it's actually specifically for the formation of ethanol from the glucose. Okay, so for this one, what is the molecule for glucose? Our glucose is C6H12O6. Okay, so once it undergoes fermentation, with our enzyme zymase, it will undergo ethanol. Ethanol, we have 2 carbon lah, 1, 2 carbon, and then we have OH, and then we have hydrogen, 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 hydrogen. So based on here, we can see that the number of carbon, or if we write it down, dia akan jadi CH3, CH2, OH. Okay, so that is the molecular formula of ethanol. So I'm just going to write down in terms of molecular formula kita. So this will be the answer lah. Ataupun this is our condensed structure. Okay, so for this one, only applicable for glucose and the application for the ethanol lah. Okay, for the second, third and fourth one ni, dia boleh jadi macam-macam type of alcohol. Okay, the second one kita akan tengok is actually how to change from the alkene into alcohol. So what does it mean by alkene? Alkene means that we have our carbon-carbon double bond here. So how do we convert the alkene into alcohol? Okay, we're going to need H2OH+. H plus is our catalyst. In this case, we're going to have H plus and OH minus. So what happens is that we're going to add these two into our double bond. So what happens is that our carbon double bond will remove. Will become 2 single bond lah. 1, 2, 3, 4 here. Okay, but then which one we're going to add? The H plus and OH minus. This will follow the Markovnikov rule, where the hydrogen will be added, or our electrophile will be added to the carbon with more hydrogen, and OH will be added to the carbon with less hydrogen. Okay, so how do we know which carbon is more or less? We're gonna check based upon our carbon-carbon double bond. Okay, this one tak boleh lah sebab ini bukan carbon-carbon double bond. Double bond is only between these two. Okay, this carbon we have 2 hydrogen, and this carbon, okay, it only has 1 because the other one carbon ni attached to another carbon. So this carbon only have 1 hydrogen. So in this case, our more hydrogen is to our left and the less hydrogen will be to our right. So once we added the atom itself, this will be our product. Okay, so this is our alcohol lah. Okay, so that is the second preparation. Okay, the third one is we have our haloalkane. Haloalkane means this is halogen attached to our alkane. So this is the example of haloalkane. Okay, so it could also be the bromine substitute dengan chlorine lah. Okay, so what happened? How do we produce alcohol from the haloalkane? What we're going to do is actually we're going to use sodium hydroxide or even water, and then we're going to do reflux lah, okay, to form hydrolysis. Okay, so what happened here? Okay, so we're going to substitute OH. Substitute with the halogen itself with our OH. Okay, so why do I write down minus, minus and minus here? Because our sodium hydroxide ni, if we divided it, it will become Na plus OH minus. Okay, so this one is actually Br minus. Then the Br minus will be combined with NaBr. Okay, hence the OH will be substituted into this one lah. Tapi just to be specific, what happened is that we're going to substitute our haloalkane with OH. So we have the same product. Okay, so that is for the alkene and the haloalkane. So this one is actually revision chapter 5. This is revision chapter 7. Okay, next one is actually Grignard reagent. So what is Grignard reagent? Grignard reagent actually originate from our haloalkane lah. But then we're going to add the magnesium to our bromine or chlorine. Okay, so for this one, please draw for your Grignard reagent. Okay, so here is an example of my Grignard reagent. Okay, so for the Grignard reagent, when we reacted with our carbonyl, what we're going to form is actually we're going to form 3 different classes of alcohol lah. Okay, so for this one is methanol. Okay, please draw the structure. This one is actually the condensed kan. Okay, please draw the expanded structure as shown next. So this is the structure in terms of the expanded. So this is example of our carbonyl. Ada C double bond O, C double bond O, C double bond O. Okay, so how does it work is that, okay, kalau previously Miss tunjuk, so what we're going to do is actually we're going to break the carbon magnesium bond and then, okay, and then we're going to show that the carbon ni akan attach to this carbon. Okay, the carbon double bond O. So this is for the case of methanol lah. The same goes kalau kita react dengan aldehyde sini. Okay, break the bond, then the carbon will go to the carbon of carbonyl. Or for the dengan ketone ni pun sama, break the bond, then go to here lah. Okay, but just for the summarization, please write down. The C double bond O, okay, C double bond O ni from here lah. C double bond O will become COH. That's why we get our alcohol. Okay, and then the carbon here, ataupun the carbon kat sini ni, nanti we're gonna add from the Grignard reagent. Okay, so what happened here is that, okay, kita break bond ni kan. Okay, so this carbon will go to this structure. Okay, so maknanya nanti sini akan jadi this one, since it will become hydrogen, hydrogen masih ada lagi. Double bond O ni dia akan jadi OH. So I'm just going to draw based on this one. So again, the this one is still the same. Double bond O will become OH lah. Okay, but then since kalau sini OH tidak ada bond ni, baru ada 3 bond lah. So we have to show another one more. Okay, one more ni dengan mana? Dua yang lagi satu ni dengan yang tadi Grignard reagent kita ni lah. Yang kita kacau sini kan. So here I'm going to add my CH2, CH3. Same goes here. So what happen if we react with aldehyde? Okay, this one I'm going to maintain. Tapi double bond O kita akan jadi OH. Is the C double bond O here, dia jadi remove double bond O, kita jadi sini OH. So, kena tunjuk lagi satu bond di bawah ni lah. Okay, so dia bonded dengan apa? Again, tadi kita break the bond ni kan, pergi kepada sini. So, sini pun akan jadi our CH2, CH3. Last but not least, okay, we're gonna react with our ketone. Okay, kenapa dia ketone? Sebab C double bond O ni, the left and the right dia, right and left dia dua-dua carbon kan. Okay, so what happen? This one kita maintain. Double bond O akan jadi COH. Sini satu bond, so bawah lagi single bond. So dia attach dengan apa? Yang tadi ni. Kita break bond ni, carbon ni kita pergi to the C double bond O. This will be our product. So for the reaction of Grignard reagent with our carbonyl ni, all of it will form our alcohol lah. But different carbonyl will have different classification of alcohol. Ketone, tertiary. Kalau secondary, we react with aldehyde. Primary alcohol mesti methanol, only one carbon. Okay, so that is for the preparation of alcohol. Next one is for the reaction pula. Okay, so we're gonna react this alcohol with this all reagent kita lah. Okay, so what will happen? So first one, we're gonna react it with our sodium salt. Okay, so what happen is that the hydrogen ni will be substituted with the Na. Since it is a salt, so we have to show the charge lah. Ni O ni dah ada O minus sebab dah pecah yang ni kan. This one kan sebenarnya ni O minus H plus kita lah. Okay, and then this one is Na plus. Okay, so what happened to the H ni? Dia sebenarnya kita punya byproduct H2 gas. Kita buat half H2 kan. But here, instead of I'm gonna write down at the side here, Miss tulis kat sini je lah what is the byproduct. Next is actually the reaction of our alcohol with our carboxylic acid. Okay, with the catalyst, it must use a catalyst H plus lah. Okay, so what happened is that when we react alcohol and carboxylic acid, we're gonna remove H2O. Okay, so previously byproduct dia H ni sahaja kan, tapi when we react with carboxylic acid, byproduct dia adalah H2O. So this is my carboxylic acid in terms of expanded structure. Okay, so what happen is that sebenarnya kita punya carboxylic acid ni akan remove dia punya OH, alcohol ni akan remove kita punya hydrogen. Okay, so sebab tu nanti dapat byproduct dia H2O. Okay, so first I'm gonna draw. Okay, I'm gonna start dengan alcohol yang kita ada ni kan. So when we draw it, it will become like this. Okay, OH ni. Okay, tapi next what we're gonna do is actually from carboxylic acid ni. Okay, since alcohol dah remove H, so carboxylic acid ni remove OH. Okay, OH ni lepas tu dia attach pada our C double bond O. C double bond O tu baru attach to CH3. Okay, jangan buat terus oksigen terus attach pada carbon ni. Tidak. Sebab H ni dia akan gabung dengan this OH kan. So maknanya this one must attach to the C double bond O yang ini. Barulah CH3 kita. Okay, so please add in your notes. What happens is that the COOH akan remove dia punya OH. Yang ni sebenarnya dia lagi sendang lah sebab tengok carbon ni dia ada bond dengan OH kita kan. So the COH will remove OH kita. OH yang ini, OH maksudnya pada alkohol kita itself will remove hydrogen. Okay. So since I have written down kat sini byproduct H2O, tak perlu tulis yang plus H2O di sini. Okay. So that is actually for the reaction of alcohol where case ni kita break the OH bond kita. Okay, next is when we reacted the alcohol with the concentrated H2SO4 heat to form dehydration. This is actually revision from chapter 5 kita. Ni kita sudah belajar mechanism dia. Okay, so what happened here is that dehydration, D tu maknanya remove. Hydration ni maksudnya hydrate lah H2O. We're gonna remove H2O from our alcohol. So to remove H2O, we're gonna remove first the OH and remove H. Okay, so first we're gonna remove OH from here. Okay, so once we remove the OH, we're gonna remove the hydrogen. OH ni from the carbon kan. Yang ini must be from the hydrogen next to it lah. Carbon yang next. Okay, so if I remove the hydrogen dekat sini, ni sebenarnya carbon yang sama kan. So tak boleh buat lah. Okay, kalau kita remove ni carbon OH kita kan. Nak remove hydrogen mesti carbon yang sebelah dia. So for example, I'm gonna remove this hydrogen. Ataupun boleh juga remove hydrogen yang di bawah ni. Ataupun di hydrogen from here pun boleh. Because the OH tu kita remove from this carbon kan. H2 mesti from the next carbon, next to the COH. Okay, so must be next to the COH. So yang ini tak boleh remove yang ini. Tapi ini boleh, ini pun boleh. So any either of this one lah. Must be only one. Only one saja. Then we can remove the H2O. So I'm just gonna, okay, sebab dah remove kat sini kan. Nak remove yang ni pula lah. So when I remove this atom, what will happen is that I'm going to form alkene. Okay, the double bond. Okay, because when you remove this one and this one, carbon ni tak cukup 4 bond. So what happens is that we're going to add 1 double bond. So then when we check here, the carbon ni ada 4 bond, this carbon pun 4 bond. Okay, so this is actually division from our chapter 5. Okay, so next one is the reaction with the substitution. Okay, so substitution, what happen is that we're going to substitute, again from this alcohol kan, we're going to substitute the OH with chlorine. Okay, for the substitution ni, we have 4 different reagent kita akan tengok. We have HCl, PCl3, PCl5 or SOCl2. Okay, sebenarnya for these two, boleh je tambah HBr ataupun ni PCl5. PCl3, sorry. Tapi kalau yang 5 dengan SOCl ni must be for the one with the 5 and the our thionyl ni, it must be with the chlorine. So that's why Miss buat semua sini chlorine, 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 chlorine. So again, what will happen is that we're going to substitute OH with Cl. So what happen is that the main product yang for these 4 semua adalah sama. But what is the difference? Like we have 4 different reagent kan. The difference is actually nanti ada different byproduct kita lah. Okay, so for the byproduct, so what is the byproduct for the reaction with these 4 different reagent? So again, for different reagent, we have different side product kita lah. Okay, so for the naming dia ni, ataupun nama for this reagent, or even this side product, boleh refer balik pada nota kita. For the reaction of alcohol, I'm just gonna link on the description juga. If you gonna write down ye, nak tahu apa naming for each of these species. H2O ni senang lah, water. HCl ni hydrogen chloride. But what is H3PO3? Ni phosphoric acid. This sulfur dioxide. So if you want to write it down, boleh refer balik pada nota kita lah. Okay, this one I'm gonna add. Okay, so again, for the case of, sebenarnya boleh juga, we're gonna substitute OH ni with bromine. Kalau nak bromine pun boleh. Tapi kalau bromine, kita hanya boleh guna HBr ataupun PBr3 sahaja. Dia tidak ada PCl5, tak ada PCl5. There's no PBr5. So sebab tu Miss buat sampai sini je lah. Kalau nak buat, nak substitute OH dengan Br ni boleh. Instead of Cl. But only for HBr and PBr3. Okay. So that is the reaction of alcohol. Okay. So tapi not the last one. Okay. Next kita akan tengok adalah reaction ataupun the oxidation of the alcohol itself. Soalan oxidation ni pun selalu juga ditanya lah. So let's zoom in for the oxidation. Okay, so for the oxidation here, okay, so first we have primary alcohol. So what's the structure of primary alcohol? So for the reaction of primary alcohol, memang ada 2 boxes because ada different reagent. Kita akan tengok the different oxidizing agent. Okay, so first one ni, Miss nak react dengan PCCCH2Cl2. Kita akan reactkan dia dengan PCCCH2Cl2. Okay, so PCCCH2Cl2 ni is actually a weak oxidizing agent. So I'm just going to write down weak kat tepi ni. For the weak oxidizing agent, what happened is that we're going to remove 2 hydrogen. Okay. And then from the COH bond ni, dia akan jadi C double bond O. Okay, so what happens is that kita nampak kat sini kan dah kurang 1 hydrogen kan. So it means that 1 hydrogen sini kita akan remove lah. So this one only 1 hydrogen. Katakan ada 2 kan. Okay, the second one tak kisah. From the same carbon. So either atas ni boleh, bawah ni pun boleh. Senang rasanya nak remove yang bawah lah. Okay, so I'm just gonna highlight the bottom one ni. Okay, so what happened? This one kita salinkan sahaja. Okay, sebab we're not going to remove anything from here. But this one, yang ni dah tak ada. This one, single bond OH will become double bond O. This one is actually our aldehyde. Okay, aldehyde ni apa? Aldehyde is the one with have C double bond O. And on the carbon, we have hydrogen. Okay, so write down di bawah ni, this is the class. Ada class or homologous series je lah. Okay. Ini kalau kita guna weak oxidizing agent. Tapi oxidation ni sebenarnya ada juga if we use the strong one. Okay, strong oxidizing agent. So for the strong one again from the same alcohol, the same primary alcohol. For this one, since it is a strong one, tak boleh guna PCCCH2Cl2 lah. This is specifically for weak. Kalau strong one, the most famous one is KMnO4, H+, heat. Okay. So, what is the reaction for when we reacting alcohol with the strong oxidizing agent? Masih lagi we're gonna remove the hydrogen. Okay, tapi write down di bawah ni, what will happen is that, so we're gonna remove the 2 hydrogen. Okay, dalam case ni, 2 hydrogen ni tak semestinya pada COH kita lah. We're just gonna remove, yang ini sebenarnya shortcut lah Miss tunjuk. We're gonna remove 2 hydrogen. So, kita tengok carbon tu, the carbon OH yang containing hydrogen. Ada atas bawah. So, remove here. We remove down here. Okay. And then, dia tak ada kata ubah COH jadi C double bond O ke tidak. Okay. Tapi macam mana tu? So, we're just gonna draw this again. Right now, the carbon only have 1, 2 bond. Okay. Next is actually add the carbon double bond O. Maksud dia, kita akan add on our carbon ni. Sebab dia baru ada 2 kan. Sebenarnya nak cukup 4. Kita tambah double bond O. So, we're gonna form carboxylic acid. Okay. So as we can see, if we for the primary alcohol, we can use a weak or strong oxidizing agent, and then when we're gonna use different strength, we're gonna form 2 different homologous series lah, 2 different functional group. So that's why if the question asks, you have to check whether weak or strong. If you're not sure, check balik dia nak yang form carboxylic acid or it wanted to form our aldehyde. Okay, this is only specifically for primary one. Okay. Next kita tengok untuk secondary. For the secondary ni, okay, kenapa yang ni secondary 1 je, tak ada 2 kotak? Sebenarnya for this one is the same one. If you use the weak or the strong, we're going to have the same product. So I'm just going to write down weak and strong. Okay, so for the weak or strong oxidizing agent, we're going to form the same product. So secondary alcohol tu macam mana pula? This is our secondary alcohol where the carbon OH ni attached to 1, 2 carbon. Okay. So, kali ni Miss nak react dengan PCCCH2Cl2 lah. The same one. Kalau kamu guna yang ini pun sama sahaja produk dia. Okay, so what happened here for the secondary alcohol? We're going to remove 2 hydrogen and the COH will become C double bond O. So, what does it mean? Sama sahaja. Yang hydrogen, one of the hydrogen tu must be from the carbon OH kita lah. Remove 1. Okay, lagi 1 from the same carbon kita. Okay, so contohnya untuk primary, the COH ada dua pilihan kan. For the COH secondary ni, hydrogen dia yang attached tu directly attached only this hydrogen. Yang ni, apa ni? This one memang ada 3 kan. But the 3 hydrogen is attached to this carbon and not to this carbon lah. So that's why kita tengok the hydrogen tu must yang from the carbon OH kita. Okay, satu yang sini. So, tengok lagi. Sini ada lagi tak hydrogen? Ada. So for this one pun kita akan remove. But what will happen is that the COH kita ni akan jadi C double bond O. Okay, so again, apa yang kita akan draw balik this one. Okay, sekarang ni carbon kita baru ada 2 bond dan change the OH ni jadi double bond O. So this will be our product. Okay, sama yang macam ni jugalah. Okay, dalam case ni, when C double bond O attached to 2 different carbon, this is what we call ketone. That is for secondary alcohol. Secondary ni boleh guna KMNO4H plus heat pun boleh. Okay, last oxidation kita akan tengok is actually for tertiary alcohol. Okay, so what's the tertiary alcohol? This is for our tertiary alcohol lah. The COH, okay, containing 1, 2, 3 carbon. So that's for tertiary alcohol. Okay, so for tertiary alcohol ni, okay, so again for the oxidation ni maksud tambah oksigen ataupun remove hydrogen lah. Okay, as we can see dalam case yang sebelum ni kita akan remove 2 hydrogen. Apa-apa memang kita akan remove 2 hydrogen. Satu from the OH. Okay, sini. Lagi satu kita akan remove from the carbon yang containing OH itself. Tapi dalam COH kita ni, kita tengok there's no hydrogen attached pun. Semua CH3, another carbon, dan carbon. So what happened here is that our tertiary alcohol ni cannot undergo oxidation. So I'm just going to write down, okay, tertiary alcohol do not undergo. Ni adalah bracket oxygen tutup bracket ni square bracket. Ini maksudnya adalah oxidation kita lah. Due to the absence of carbon on COH. Maksudnya OH ni dah ada dah. Satu ni. Tapi tengok sini kena remove hydrogen yang attached pada carbon. This carbon does not have any hydrogen attached to it. So that's why for the tertiary alcohol, dia tak undergo oxidation lah. Okay. So that's the last for the oxidation. Okay, next is actually we're going to look at the chemical test of alcohol. Okay, so for the chemical test of alcohol, we have 2. So we have Lucas test. Okay, so Lucas test ni is to differentiate primary, secondary, tertiary. Nak tengoklah which one is which. Okay, so what happen is that we're going to substitute OH dengan Cl. So the same macam kita punya reaction for this one dengan HCl ni. Sebenarnya what will happen is that kita remove substitute OH with our chlorine. Okay, tapi yang ini ada catalyst dia zinc chloride. Okay, but then for your point, yang ini pun soalan yang suka ditanya, what is the observation? Okay, so different classification will have different different observation lah. So I hope you have done the experiment. So by now you have done the experiment, so you should be able to see. Okay, so kalau primary, this is the observation, does not turn cloudy. Please add in your notes. For this one, kena ada off heating lah. Okay, kecuali number 3 ni, the solution turns cloudy immediately. Because when you adding Lucas test to the tertiary alcohol, memang immediately dia jadi cloudy. When you shake it, terus cloudy. But then when you add into primary, secondary, you shake it. And then when you heat it up, barulah sebab tu kat sini kena ada heating, off heating. Yang ini, the solution turns cloudy within 10 minutes. Soalnya dalam 5 minutes dah dapat. Untuk primary ni, the solution does not turn cloudy even after 10 minutes of heating. Okay, so that's for the Lucas test. And last but not least is the Iodoform test. Okay, so for the Iodoform test, the reagent is iodine sodium hydroxide. What will happen is that it will form a yellow precipitate, which is our CHI3. So this is to detect the presence of methyl on carbinol. Okay, so please draw. Okay, macam mana? What is the structure kalau kita dapat undergo Iodoform test? So to form the yellow precipitate, carbon tu mesti ada CH3, this one. Carbinol ni maksud dia our COH bond. Carbinol ni maksud dia carbon tu contain no OH. Sebab kalau carbonyl C double bond O. Carbinol COH kita. Okay. Tapi bukan sahaja kena ada CH3 and OH, the carbon must have hydrogen jugalah. sebenarnya attached to it. Okay. So that is the last chemical test, and then the last reaction of hydroxy lah. Okay, so that is the video for the summary or the mind map for chapter 8 hydroxy.